everyone. Welcome back. Next, we have Jupiter Neurosciences, Inc. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol JUNS. It's a clinical stage pharmaceutical company focused on developing therapies for neuroinflammation and central nervous system disorders, whose lead clinical program is advancing through a Phase IIa trial in Parkinson's disease. Happy to welcome Chairman and CEO Rosén and President and Chief Business Officer Alison Silva. Welcome to the conference today. We're very much looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Thank you, Anna, and good morning, everyone. Hopefully you will find this of interest and so on. And we are very excited, actually, where we are today in the business. We will have a few forward-looking statements, pretty bold ones. So read this really fast, and then. So we went public about a little bit over a year ago, but we were founded 2016, and the goal at the time was actually university professors at the University of Miami that came to us and said, if we can make resveratrol more bioavailable, we really will have something. Took some time to get it all done, but we showed in a 2021 Phase I study that our Jotrol resveratrol was 9 times more bioavailable than the regular resveratrol in the market. And regular resveratrol has been published in over 20,000 studies that as a miracle product in mice. But this is the first time that now will work in humans. We have a clinical program. We have Parkinson's Phase II trial that is with just in more or less entering enrollment phase. But while having all this possibility in the CNS area primarily, we also then realized and acknowledged when we went public that the longevity and aging market is just exploding. So we have also just launched a consumer longevity and aging product line called Nugevia. We'll talk more about that also later on. And when we did IPO, we raised $11 million. There was Dominari and Revere Capital that took us public. And we recently, actually October last year, we got a SEPA from Jotrol. It's a $20 million SEPA, which means $6 million upfront, and then an ELOC program. So we're funded, so we can do what we need to do. Can we have the video, please, that we're going to show you why Jotrol resveratrol is much better than the regular resveratrol.
Resveratrol is a popular supplement linked to longevity and brain health. But there's a problem with it. After you swallow it, nearly all of it is processed by the liver very quickly. Only a small amount, less than 0.5% of the original dose, is left to reach the tissues, and even less the brain. This leads to little or no beneficial effect. Trying to just take more isn't practical either, because higher doses often cause stomach and digestive side effects. Jotrol was created to solve this problem. Jotrol uses a patented micellar formulation that packages resveratrol into tiny carriers. This helps resveratrol take a different route through the body, so it isn't immediately processed by the liver. The result is up to 9 times higher levels compared to standard resveratrol, allowing more resveratrol to reach the tissues where it's meant to work, including the brain. If resveratrol has always sounded promising, Jotrol is designed to make it effective in the real world. Jotrol resveratrol, shown to deliver in an FDA-regulated study.
So the animation was meant so even your grandmother can understand the benefits and so on. It's not that easy, but it's very exciting, and which means also that this technology that we have can be used on the Nugevia lines. We have that, but it also the opportunity here in different areas of indications are tremendous. With our Parkinson's that we now are doing, and once we have the data from that, and Alison is going to talk more about that, then we think that the Alzheimer's program can start relatively quickly, but also the big opportunities in rare diseases, in mitochondrial therapeutics, mental health, and of course in the longevity and health span area. So, the opportunities are humongous for us. Alison?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. I'll talk a little bit about the Parkinson's trial that we're launching currently. It's a Phase IIa trial that was predicated upon some data that we collaborated with the University of Miami to achieve about 2 years ago in an MPTP mouse model, which is the only validated animal model of Parkinson's disease. And what you're seeing here right now is 3 different panel descriptions that are representative of clinical readouts in Parkinson's. So you're looking at motor dysfunction, grip strengths. A symptom readout of Parkinson's patients is that they usually lose a lot of the fine motor movements that allow them to tie shoes or button shirts, the shakiness that's very representative of the disease. So you'll see here that even at low doses of Jotrol, we're able to demonstrate neurological resolution of these symptoms. We're able to show that grip strength improves over time. This is a 6-week study, so very quick onset of action. And low dose is just as efficacious as the high dose. So we think that this demonstrates further utility in the bioavailability, able to control the dose, go in at a very low therapeutic, non-toxic level, and have good symptom readouts in a short period of time. This study was run in collaboration with some pharma partners who helped with the design to make sure that the readout would enable both the regulatory package that went alongside with it, as well as be attractive to the clinicians who are leading this study with us. Our advisory committee is made up of 5 superstars in this space. The PI is Charbel Moussa, who is the director of Georgetown Parkinson's Lab. He will be running what we're calling the RESET program, randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study to evaluate the safety and tolerability and the pharmacokinetics of Jotrol, our formulated resveratrol in Parkinson's. This will be a relatively short, well-controlled study. We have 3 arms, placebo arm, and then a low dose and a high dose. You'll see here that the subjects in the study go through a 12-week dosing period on different dose formulations. We'll have baseline and endpoint readouts that will include imaging, will include blood draws, symptom readouts, as well as validated clinical endpoints. We are making great progress with the study. We are activating these sites currently. We're just about through that process, and we hope to begin randomization and dosing this quarter. It is important to note that this is an oral administered drug, so it's very easy for patients to take it home. It's once daily administration over the period of 12 weeks, so high compliance for this patient population. These subjects are all well known to our clinicians, so we think that this will encourage the efficacy of the study, the compliance of the participants, the overall, function of the study. And as we get through it, we'll have good collaboration with both patients, sites, and the investigators. The objectives here are going to read out pretty quickly. So as I mentioned, it's 3 months of dosing and then a month follow-up period. We'll be able to look at discrete biomarkers and labs at the end of the study, as well as imaging to see the effect of the drug on the body, as well as the effect of drug on the symptoms of Parkinson's patients. All of these patients have active disease states, so it will be a good efficacy endpoint study, as well as a safety and tolerability study. From a trial timeline standpoint, we have a granted IND, and we expect to, we've stated we expect to screen our first subject this month, and hopefully read out on top-line results by the end of the year. As soon as those are available, we'll be sharing them with our shareholder base, and also providing some important milestones along the way as we execute on this trial.
Thank you. So now over to the Nugevia, the direct-to-consumer supplements that we have developed. We are focusing on this global longevity and aging market that is just exploding. And having a nutritional product like Jotrol resveratrol that is extremely safe, but also gone through rigorous pharmaceutical testing. So originally, we never thought of taking this as a supplement product, but utilizing all the work that we have done over the years, we feel that we are actually probably the company that has the most scientific data on a nutritional supplement in this longevity space right now. That doesn't mean that it goes automatic, that people they understand it and see it, but it helps them to bring in some high-level ambassadors. The first ones are Annika Sörenstam, who is a close friend of ours and very excited. She still said, "Chris, I'm not going to endorse anything if there's not science behind it." And Annika is the greatest of all times female golfer, very well known in the industry and sports industry. She's also the health ambassador for our present administration for young people and so on. Chris Webber, Hall of Famer, basketball player, now commentator during March Madness. You might have seen him there and so on. And he has actually some issues with his knees and had problems running after his 8-year-old twins. And he said the product really helps him. So, and then of course a lot of the longevity, focus have been along biohackers like Brian Johnson and Tim Gray and also Jean Falacera. And Jean has joined us as an ambassador for that side. And they have done a lot of these experiments with products and document everything in themselves and with all the wearables that are around today. And we have a lot of validations through Jean, that our product really works and so on. He actually takes pictures of himself nearly on a daily basis. And he said very clear that Nugevia Glow has reduced his wrinkles and so on. So it's interesting and exciting to hear the response from people that they are now trying it. The longevity and aging market is a multi-trillion-dollar market, and we hope to be able to play a nice role into that. If you look at our core markets that we can go after, I think aggressively and make a difference and an impact relatively quickly, is the existing resveratrol market today in the United States is over $300 million a year. The question is how much of that market can we take with a product that is so much better and actually works? The Alzheimer's and Parkinson's market are obviously extremely interesting. My mother passed away of Alzheimer's, and that was terrible. Her last 12 years was not any fun to see. My former CFO that was with us when we started the company, he passed away in Parkinson. So this thing is close to me and to many people. I know that once you have seen it and you live it, and if it's a relative, you get a little bit nervous about that you will get it yourself and so on. So we think that whole market is wide open for us then to go after with actually clinical data and so on. And we actually have some of the Nugevia customers are Parkinson's patients and people with Alzheimer's and so on. GLP-1s, peptides are obviously very hot, but they also comes with some side effects of droopy face and loss of muscles and so on, and that's where our product fits in as a very good complement. There is where we then can get a lot of help also from like the compounding pharmacies areas and so on. So Nugevia supports the biology required to stay healthy as long as you live. That is really what we believe and what we want to show. So when you look at our company, the dual approach summary, hasn't been many, but suddenly there's some noise in the market that other companies are following our approach here, with being both doing biotech and then also the longevity and aging and so on. So when you look at the biotech side, a successful PD trial, which by success is not only in that we show safety and tolerability, which we are 99% sure, in our opinion, that we will show, but also that there are some good results in biomarkers. We definitely believe that that's going to lead to strategic discussions with some of the larger pharma companies that are already following us and so on. And then with the longevity and aging market, we are doing the Instagram, Facebook, Google, and so on right now, building up and testing the various then postings and creations and so on. And it's getting pretty clear now, and we think that this quarter that we just started going to be a really breakthrough quarter as far as sales. And part of that's going to come from the compounding pharmacy area, where they actually have over $1 billion in annual sales in compounding pharmacies of nutritional supplements. And anything with the longevity and aging, and especially if they're science-based, can take a nice share of that market. And also a lot of even nightclubs in California are now converted into wellness and spas, and high-end wellness and spas is also an additional target. So with a dual approach, we keep the high biotech exit possibility, while the longevity and direct-to-consumer can create a positive cash flow for our company. So, and by that, we say thank you and open for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Excuse me. Would you consider a clinical stage biotech company, a consumer longevity company, or a hybrid model?
Well, longevity biotech. It's just about, and today a lot of companies actually, even Lilly now went in and bought a company in silico medicine for $2.5 billion. In silico is doing a lot of therapeutics and so on, but they call it the longevity company. So it's a blend right now. I don't even know that it's. If I would say longevity is the best even description of what we do, because really what we want to do is to help you stay healthy as long as you live. The side effect might be that you then live longer, of course, but the key is really here to see that you can be active and do your normal things and play with your grandkids or great grandkids that I happen to now have the first one, and be active with them and so on. And that's what we hope to be able to assist with
Absolutely.
Our products.
We can all relate to that. Talk about how the dual engine strategy works when it comes to prescription drug development and consumer products in terms of revenue.
When you looked at that, and we're luckily in the longevity space, you can see that the competitors that really have science behind them, they are high priced. So we don't see, because we got that question if we think it's going to be negative for the pricing on a prescription drug. There is some difference in the prescription Jotrol. There are more rigorous testings and so on than in the nutraceutical version, even if there is still the resveratrol in the same formulation. So I think that there's going to be a premium definitely on a prescription. I think is realistic with a $15,000 to $20,000 a year, price tag that you can get it. And that will still be cheaper for someone that's on a prescription than going on buying Nugevia, over the counter. But if you want to have a full therapeutic effect and you take the whole stack that we have and so on, you're going to pay $3,000 to $5,000 a year. So it's a high revenue side on a nutraceutical basis as well.
And with that said, does the consumer business meaningfully fund R&D or distract from core drug development?
Definitely not a distraction. At the moment, we have it really clearly. And the way we work, we're very virtual. Like you can see, Allison has done a fantastic job in getting some of the best KOLs in the world, in this country, on the Parkinson's trial, and they do a lot of the work there for us. We have manufacturing of our Jotrol prescription products done by Catalent, all reputable, the top line around it. So I think with the model we have, we can actually grow pretty quickly and just add a few people inside, but using outside sources.
And speaking of Jotrol, is this a true platform technology or a formulation improvement? And how defensible is the IP?
Well, the IP is extremely defensible because it's so precise to make this work. So we even tried to add additional patents and so on, but this patent that we have, we have a shared patent with a license with Aquanova on it, so we are the only one that can use it. It's very, very strong to 2036, and we have it approved in China, Hong Kong, Japan, Europe, and North America. So we feel very strong with that. We have discussions, primarily with the University of Miami co-founders that was part of our company when we started, to look at utilizing the technology we have here and plug in other therapeutic agents that can benefit from the bioavailability. But we are very early stages there, so I don't want to promise anything. But we see definitely this is a possibility.
And which indication is the lead value driver?
Right now, it's Parkinson's. Because we can do it with this very clever setup trial that Allison has worked with the professors, and the outcome of that, and that's why we also say let's not, since we have some limited cash, and that is actually by design, then we feel that. Wait until the Parkinson's trial is done, look at all the biomarkers that we have, the inflammation and mitochondria biomarkers. That can lead to a host of various indications and much more money and strategic partnerships, and maybe someone even wants to buy the pharmaceutical side, of our company at that point. But that will be pleasant problems down the road.
And talk about the results. Are they clinically meaningful or biomarker driven? And what's the probability of success for each indication?
I should obviously say that it's 100% probability of success, but you do clinical trials to show that it really works, and to guess that. The big advantage we have, which is FDA also very happy with, is obviously the safety and tolerability of the product that we have generated, because we can have a much lower dose, and which avoids the resveratrol, otherwise well-known gastrointestinal side effects, but have then still a much better therapeutic effect. So that is a win-win. And then what that will lead to, You know.
Yeah, if we want to talk about study objectives, so the primary objective is safety. This is the first time that this drug has been put into the patient population. So we know the safety profile, so already we believe that we're set up for success there. Resveratrol and Jotrol is the safest drug that you're going to come by. The secondary objectives, as Chris mentioned, and the exploratory objectives really allow us to differentiate this from a safety trial and to be able to get into those clinical endpoints. So secondary biomarkers that we're looking at energy metabolism via blood levels of ATP. We're looking at magnetic resonance spectroscopy, so we'll be able to really see what's happening at an energy level within the body. We're doing profiling of plasma and CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, to look at ATP, energy metabolism, and inflammation. So we have over 20, I think it's 22 biomarkers in this study that are all therapeutic endpoint driven biomarkers that will give us so much data to inform the Parkinson's program and other future pipeline development. Then the exploratory endpoints really just open the door to Alzheimer's, other neuropsychiatric conditions, fall conditions, other disease profiles that would be implicated in a broad span of neuroinflammatory disease. So really we're getting a huge amount of data, a huge amount of readout from a very small, relatively inexpensive biotech study.
Perfect. And what's the fastest track to approval?
My background is in the rare disease space. And when we started this company, it was Jupiter Orphan Therapeutics. And we did feel that the quickest path was looking at the rare disease space. I think we still are, very interested in looking at orphan diseases, and they do notoriously have a quick path to approval. When we decided to look at broader indications, we looked at Alzheimer's. We had the phase I that was funded by the NIA, and it was a program that, as Chris mentioned, we hold near and dear to our heart based upon some of our founders and former employees and family history. Alzheimer's is a huge patient population and very onerous and long from a clinical development standpoint. Parkinson's was where we landed because we felt that it was kind of the lower hanging fruit, quicker development, unmet medical need, discrete biomarkers, short enrollment, and dosing profile. So we kind of combined both of those two early strategies and landed upon Parkinson's, which I confidently feel right now for the company is the best path forward for a route to approval, demonstration of clinical activity, and use of proceeds for the company. So I think we're pretty confident with our therapeutic strategy.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'll let you close with this. When might you be cash flow positive? And what does success look for you in 2 to 3 years?
Success comes first, obviously, with some good results on, let's say, the 3 or 4 of the biomarkers that we feel very good about that will have good outcomes. That they show those good outcomes, a year from now or earlier, that will automatically trigger some much larger pharma company that want to talk to us. We have already companies that we know well. Alison knows all the players in the field, and we know that they're going to want to talk to us. And then, so that is one side of the success story. If there's going to be an out-licensing deal or they want to buy the asset, then so we don't know. But it can happen in biotech. That is actually called near term. And so on. We think that it's going to take us probably 2 years to get the Nugevia so profitable so it can cover the whole company, including all the R&D. But it can be to reach, then somewhere between $10 to $20 million in sales in 2027 is quite realistic.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for joining us on the conference. Very important work you were doing, and thank you for sharing some of your personal story with us as well. So we would love to follow along with you into the new year.
Okay. Thank you very much for having us.
Much.
All right, everyone,
Thanks.
we'll be right back with our next presenter.